great Sunday morning and welcome to Unity of Washington, D.C. and your time of transformation. As is our practice, a member of our prayer ministry will be holding us in prayer during the entire service. You are invited to join in with the prayer ministry every Wednesday morning at 7:30 a.m. for the prayer call. You can submit prayer requests and requests for spiritual counseling online or call the office and the appropriate ministry will be notified of your request. And now, Center Opportunities. Divine Connections with Reverend Sylvia continues on Wednesdays at 3 o'clock p.m. Join in to connect and share with others on their spiritual journey. Remain with us after service next Sunday, April 3rd, for our first Sunday Reiki healing session. This is a virtual experience that you do not want to miss. The Eye of the Storm class will be held on Tuesdays beginning April 5th through May 3rd at 6:30 p.m. Your facilitator is licensed Unity teacher Larry Davis. In this class, students will explore the principles of embracing conflict and creating peace in everyday life. The course is also designed to help individuals function from their heart center, demonstrate unity principles in times of conflict, and complete a 21-day reconciliation process. Although the class is offered for spiritual education and enrichment credit, it is open for all to attend. Join in for our beautiful and reflective Good Friday Tenebrae service on Friday, April 15th at 7 o'clock p.m. via our YouTube channel. Are you looking to enhance your service at Unity of Washington, D.C.? Consider becoming a Board of Trustees member. This is a unique opportunity to apply practical principles of love and truth. Your service as a trustee will be rewarding and fulfilling. Deadline for applications is today. If you are a member and are interested, prayerfully consider serving. You should have received an email from the church with the link to the online application, or you can fill out an application through our church website. The new Board of Trustees members will be elected at our annual membership meeting. Speaking of the annual membership meeting, it will be held on Sunday, April 24th at 2 o'clock p.m. via our Zoom portal. During this meeting, members will have an opportunity to hear about the progress of the church over the past year, and as already stated, we will be electing people to serve on our Board of Trustees. If you are a member, you should have received or will receive a letter indicating the meeting information and the Zoom connection link. As was announced last week by our beloved senior minister, Reverend Sylvia Sumter, the church will reopen for our first in-person service on Easter Sunday, April 17th at 11 o'clock a.m. How exciting! You should have received a constant contact email that outlines our safety protocols. If you did not, please check out our website. Here's a sample of some of the things we want you to be aware of. Seating is limited, and you will be required to register in advance to attend the service. You must be fully vaccinated and show proof of vaccination upon arrival. There will be no separate in-person service for our youth. The wearing of masks will be required. Temperatures will be checked. You will be greeted lovingly without physical contact, no handshakes or hugs. A simple bowing or namaste greeting is welcome. Please note that we will continue to live stream the service via our YouTube channel. So, If you are unable to attend or choose to continue to experience worshiping with us virtually, you will have that option. All classes and events are still being held virtually unless otherwise noted. If you need to update your contact information or are creating a new submission, go on our website and click on the Update My Information link. If you are unable to access this link on the website, call the church and a staff member will assist you. Please sign into our Sunday service each week at 10:50 a.m. so that you can get an overview of all of our upcoming events. You can read the emails that we send out to you during the week or check out our website at unityofwashingtondc.org to obtain connection links and additional information about our classes, events, and ways to donate. Now is the time for you to center yourself to receive a transformative message from our inspirational speaker today, one of our own, the beloved Reverend Beverly Saunders Biddle. And she will come to us today with her message, Release, Renew, and Restore. May God's grace and peace be with you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Renee Barnes, for sharing your precious gift. And of course, our beloved Richard Payne Trio. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Unity family. You know, we are told in Psalms to enter into his courts with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. So we are just grateful this morning because we know that that is indeed our consciousness. So I am just grateful to be here this morning. I'm always grateful when my mentor, Reverend Sylvia Sumter, invites me to come and share a word. And when she called me, we had to have a laugh because she asked if I would be available. And I said, I'm available, and I'm also willing, because you know those two don't always coincide. So I acknowledge our dear Reverend and pray that she is getting some rest that is so well needed and deserved. And of course, I had to just get still once I knew that I would be pressed into service this morning, and to listen for what God, Spirit, our Creator, Divine Mind would have me share. And lately there's something that's been percolating in my mind, within my consciousness, and I've drawn on a message that Unity Village had released for the Lenten season, and it's probably because I've been teaching the Keep It True Lent class that these words have been so present for me. You know, each year Unity Village produces a Lenten booklet, and it's called Release and Renew. So I've drawn on that theme and expanded upon it just a bit. So our message this morning is release, renew, and restore, which I believe is apropos not only for this Lenten season, also for the season that we are in generally. And you know, my mic doesn't always love me, so forgive me if I have to adjust just a bit. So how many of you have wanted to, or at least thought about returning to a time in your life or a time in our lives when things were different, even if not actually better? I know I have, particularly considering what we have endured over these last 2 years. We may have wished things would just get back to normal, whatever that is. Even here at Unity of Washington, D.C., we want to get back to being together within this beautiful sanctuary with our church family, to be able to worship with each other, to share with each other, to learn and grow with each other, to just love on one another. Well, I'll happily say what they say in Jamaica, soon come. As you know, Reverend Sylvia announced last week that we will be back here on Easter Sunday. Hallelujah. Beyond what we desire for our church, there may be times in our lives when we wish we could return to days gone by, especially in the face of loss, whether it be the loss of loved ones, or the loss of career or employment, or the loss of a home or other possessions, or even in the face of physical, mental, emotional dis-ease or disharmony. We often wish that we could restore what the locusts have eaten. You know, there is a desire to release, renew, and restore. We want to release the discomfort or pain or whatever is currently being experienced. We want to renew what has been damaged or even destroyed. And we want to restore, change things back to a previous state or condition that was more pleasing and more uplifting. I'm sure you've already noticed a theme here. And the title of today's message was purposely written in a manner to highlight that theme. It's the re, not the re-re, as in Aretha either. It's that prefix re, which denotes an action being done again. It comes from Latin to mean again, anew, back, returning to a previous state, back to the original state or condition, also conveying the notion of undoing. This is consistent in the terms release, renew, and restore. So let's examine each one a little more closely. Release means to set free from restraint, confinement, or servitude. And it's synonymous with surrender, clear, liberate, loose, open up, unbind, unchain, wipe the slate clean. Renew means to make like new, restore to freshness, vigor, or perfection, to replenish, rebuild, replace, begin again, breathe new life into, recreate, revigorate, transform. Restore means to give back or return, to put or bring back into existence or use, to bring back or put back into a former or original state, to put again in possession of something. It's synonymous with rebuild, reconstitute, redeem, rehabilitate, reinstate, rejuvenate, and revitalize. You see, just like Reverend Sylvia, I love words too. So did I hear someone ask, to what do we need to apply these powerful treatments? What needs to be released? What needs to be renewed? What needs to be restored? I'm so glad you asked. I have one simple or perhaps not so simple answer. Our consciousness. What we think, what we believe, how we see things, how we hold memories, all of that. So don't be scared. It doesn't have to be hard. Though I'm not a doctor, and I definitely don't play one on TV, I do have a prescription. And you don't need health insurance to fill it either. You know what? I hear Ashford and Simpson singing, "Don't cost you nothing." Well, that's not really true. It will cost commitment and willingness to do the work that's required. The first thing we must do, and notice I said we. I'm certainly not above any of this. Whenever I'm delivering a message, I'm just talking to myself. And all of you are eavesdropping. We begin by realizing and acknowledging that we are in the midst of a process of unlearning. We each have a spiritual curriculum. We've come here into this life existence to both learn and to teach. As a student of A Course in Miracles, I'll share that there is no separation between teacher and pupil. The Course says that to teach and to learn are the same. It's a constant process that goes on every moment of the day. And we are called to witness and attest to what we believe. And any situation must be a chance to teach others who we are and what they are to us. Yet I digress a little bit. We are in the process of unlearning because although we have our own spiritual curriculum and we came here already knowing who and whose we are, somewhere along the way, we've forgotten. We've allowed that ego monkey mind to run amok. And we've fallen under the spell of the race consciousness. Now we're on a journey back to the truth of who we are, back to our divine, whole, and perfect selves. So here's the prescription to prayerfully support us along our way. Treatment number 1 is release. What has been called the Unity Primer, Lessons in Truth, by Dr. H. Emily Cady, begins with a chapter entitled Liberty or Bondage Which? indicating that we have a choice. A theme that runs throughout this Unity Classic is that we have been enslaved by our own minds and become prisoners to our own consciousness. My words, not hers. She did, though, admonish us to not be under bondage of false beliefs about our circumstances or our environment. And she encouraged us to see only God in it all. Dr. Katie, like the Unity co-founder, Charles Fillmore, spent a good amount of time on the importance of the use of denials, what I call a powerful spiritual technology to be added to our own spiritual toolboxes. She wrote that denials bring freedom from bondage, and that denial is the first step toward wiping out from our minds the mistaken beliefs of a lifetime. Powerful. Mr. Fillmore defined denial as the mental process of erasing from consciousness the false beliefs of the sense mind. As we look to release ourselves from the bondage that Dr. Katie described, we can use denials to cleanse our consciousness of old, stale, unproductive, and limiting thoughts and beliefs. In so doing, we are not so much saying that such things do not exist as one thinks of denial psychologically. We are rather saying that such thoughts and beliefs have no inherent power over us. We free ourselves from an experience of feeling stuck due to the mental confusion that does not serve us as we endeavor to stand in the fullness of all that we were created to be. How perfect for this season in which we find ourselves. Our treatment number 2 is renew. This next level of treatment follows perfectly and builds upon what we have done through release. We now prepare to reflect more on our individuality, that part of us that is eternal, that part of us that never changes and can never be destroyed. As we release the veil that we know as our personality, we have surrendered our belief in separation and our attachment to sense consciousness. Once we have cleansed our consciousness of error thoughts, we prepare ourselves to claim the God part of us, our true self. This work begins in conscious mind and is completed in the subconscious, that storehouse of our past thoughts, our feelings and experiences. We follow the words of the Apostle Paul in Romans chapter 12, verse 2. In the King James Bible, it's written, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of the mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. I love the way it's written in the Message, where the reader is urged to place one's life before God. It reads, so here's what I want you to do, God helping you. Take your everyday, ordinary life, your sleeping, eating, going to work, and walking around life, and place it before God as an offering, embracing what God does for you is the best thing you can do for him. Don't become so well adjusted to your culture that you fit into it without even thinking. Instead, fix your attention on God. You'll be changed from the inside out. Readily recognize what he wants from you and quickly respond to it. Unlike the culture around you, always dragging you down to its level of immaturity, God brings the best out of you, develops well-formed maturity in you. I just love that. We, in effect, make ourselves new spiritually through this renewal. We revive, rebuild, and breathe new life into our consciousness by replacing the old era thoughts and beliefs with statements of truth, what we know as affirmations. We surrender who we think we are, forgive ourselves for our missteps, and align ourselves with the truth of who and whose we are. We pick up the gauntlet that has been thrown down before us. We step into our calling as spiritual warriors and light bearers. We center ourselves and we open ourselves to the movement of the Holy Spirit to guide us into the light. And then our last treatment number 3, is restore. Finally, we move forward toward restoration. As we lay down the false masks of our personalities, we can no longer pretend that we do not know. It's time for us to know that we know that we know. We've been brought here for a divine purpose. We get to remember. Not only bring into our conscious awareness why we are here and what we are to be about, also remember, in the sense of bringing ourselves back together with God within our own consciousness. The thought and belief that we have been apart from God is a myth. We get to know that we are a part of God. The fullness of God is everywhere present at one time. This means that God is also always active within us and within our lives and affairs. We get to allow God to be God in our lives. We get to stand as our authentic selves, more consistently aligning ourselves with divine law, embodying spiritual principles, and demonstrating them in our daily living. In the Gospel, according to Matthew, chapter 5, verse 13, Jesus says, "You are the salt of the earth, but if salt has lost its taste, how can its saltiness be restored? It is no longer good for anything, but is thrown out and trampled underfoot." We must not be the salt that has lost its taste, but be the salt of the earth that Mr. Fillmore described as the thoughts in man that understand, love, and obey truth as Jesus taught and demonstrated it. As we move through these last 20 days of the Lenten season, let us prepare ourselves to overcome the world as our elder brother and way shower, Jesus the Christ, did. Let us not succumb to the seemingly overwhelming pull of the race consciousness that would have us forget the truth of who we really are. As we endeavor to transcend the things that would weigh upon us and affect us mentally, physically, emotionally, and even spiritually, I ask that we consider this quote from one of my favorite metaphysicians, Reverend Eric Butterworth, the former senior minister of Unity at Lincoln Center. While he wrote this piece specifically about the Lenten season in his book, Celebrate Yourself, it certainly can carry us through life. Lent can be a dynamic experience, not by what you give up as much as by what you take up. More than just trying to lose weight, you'll be working to shift the weight of your consciousness from negative to positive and creative. It can be a time of great believing, leading to great overcoming and great living. Let us release those things that we have allowed to stand between us and God. Let us release the false beliefs and error thoughts that have kept us in bondage. Let us move on to renew our consciousness through our consistent daily practice, including the spiritual technologies of prayer, meditation, setting clear and heartfelt intentions, and using denials and affirmations. Then let us restore ourselves to our original, powerful, perfectly divine selves. Let us know that we are never alone, that we are one with the living God. We are more powerful than we sometimes think we are. We have divine powers and faculties at our disposal once we turn ourselves toward the indwelling Christ. We can indeed live the lives that we have been called to and claim our divine inheritance. As always, I leave you with this ancient Sanskrit blessing. Baruch Bashan, the blessings already are. Thank you. So now let us just move into a time of meditation. So I encourage you to just rest in your seat and know that you are fully supported as you are fully supported by God. And take a nice, deep, cleansing breath and let it out. And take another. And this time just hold it for a bit. And then let it out. And if there's any tension anywhere, just breathe into it. Taking advantage of this lovely gift that we're given, breath. Just keep breathing, resting in your own natural rhythm of breath. Breath. And know that each time we breathe in the love and the wisdom and the grace of God. And as we breathe out anything and everything unlike it. Anything that we've been holding in our consciousness. Anything that would keep us from being all that we've been called here to be. Not what we've been called to do. You know, we've been acting as if we're human doings rather than human beings. So let us know that it is in this right now moment time for us to be. And know that anything that we have been through can be released. We don't have to be prisoners to it, whatever it is. There's been so much. We've all been through so much. Yet we don't have to be chained to it. We don't have to allow it to keep us from our divine appointment. We know that every thought is a prayer. So let us pray. Positive, uplifting, creative, Let us send those thoughts out into the universe, knowing that they will not be returned void. Our prayers are never returned void. God is always saying yes. Let us be mindful of what it is we are praying, what we are expecting. Let us keep breathing and praying and affirming, knowing that we can indeed renew our spirit, knowing that we can renew our minds, renew our emotional level, renew ourselves in spirit. Let us remember that we are never alone. God said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Let us know this truth. And in our own way, let us give thanks that we do know the truth. So breathe. And so it is. And so it shall be. Thank you, Richard Payne. And let us now hear again the inimitable Renee Barnes.
He's got the whole world in his hand. 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 He's got the bulls and the waters in his hand. He's got the bulls and the waters in his hand. He's got the sun and the moon right in his hand. He's got the whole world in his hand. He's got the grace and the bees right in his hand. He's got the birds and the bees right in his hand. He's got the beast of the field right in his hand. He's got the whole world in his hand. He's got you and me right in his hand. He's got you and me right
Absolutely. Thank you, Renee Barnes. Yes, the whole world in his hands, which means we have that world in our hands. But we know who and whose we are. And thank you, Reverend Beverly Saunders Biddle, with your presence and your message this morning. Release, renew, restore, because you brought home to us that reminder of who and whose we are. The whole entire essence, that world is in our hand. We are the ocean in the drop. So thank you. And good morning to all of you out there. And I come to you at this time, just giving thanks for this day, this time, our hour of transformation. Let us prepare right now to bless our offering. And I always ask that you put your hands together. There's just something about doing that, embracing and visualizing that abundance that is yours. Affirm that you are connected to the infinite abundant supply. Claim it for yourself and all others. And we thank you here at Unity of Washington, D.C. for your consistency and your generosity in your giving. And as you affirm our offering blessing this morning, do so with a fresh approach to this prayer. And you know, sometimes we have to remind ourselves to be fresh about it, to move beyond that roteness of it, but to feel it, to believe it. So join me, knowing that you will be richly blessed in more ways than you can name. So let us know our prayer together. For it is divine love through me that blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Please see the various giving platforms shown on the screen at the end of the service. And if you miss it, go to our website or call the office during the week and someone will assist you. Again, we thank you for blessing us. And I hope that you have been blessed today. Let us now close with our affirmation for the week. Thank you again, Rev Bev, for this. Releasing anything that is not in alignment with the truth of who I am. My consciousness is renewed and restored to reflect the indwelling Christ. My divine essence is now fully on display. Wow. Thank you. And join us in experiencing our closing songs. Have a wonderful week, and we will see you again next week, same time. And so it is.
Song, it can't be wrong. the truth.